Hi, Louis.
Hi, Emily. Lovely to see you.
You too. Who are you? Well, I know who you are, but obviously people listening to this podcast might not know. So.
Absolutely. This has all been a Ranger-led project.
Rethinking the ways that we engage with our food, engage with our urban landscapes, and what the potentials could be.
We're going to have parts of the garden distributed to other groups. Yeah. It's not just going to be a 1 month wonder.
We need residents of cities to be aware they can make green spaces.
A bit more exciting, a bit more imaginative, a bit more, sensational. My name's Louis Rutherford. I'm Partnerships Manager here at London National Park City. Been connected to the project actually way before I started working here through previous community work in Barking and Dagenham, where I met the wonderful Judy Ling Wong, who was part of the original kind of movement behind it all. Delighted to be part of the team, and just thrilled to be supporting the Rangers as they've led this whole project from beginning to end. And it's just looking stunning. I think everyone should be incredibly proud of the work that they've done.
It is looking fantastic. So there was a lot of plants and pots this morning, and I can't really see that many pots. A lot of them are just in the ground or waiting to go in the ground. It looks wonderful. So you've been involved in this project for some time, so obviously inception kind of 2022, and then you came into your position early last year, was it?
So it was the beginning of 2024. I actually was aware of the project and brought Judy Ling Wong over to speak at a project that I was working at in Barking and Dagenham in East London. And so she gave a talk back in 2020. So I've been a fan since then, really. And she spoke about this idea called Rangers, and just look how it's grown from here. This has all been a Ranger-led project, and I hope everyone who founded the National Park City movement, a huge grassroots campaign, is just really proud of the seeds that they sowed and what Rangers are achieving on a big scale now, thanks to their efforts.
So you have just turned up with a crate of mushrooms.
Yes.
We've just been marvelling at what they look like. Where did they come from, and what is their role in Aster of the senses?
So it's all Ranger Mike to thank, really. Ranger Mike runs the London Fungus Network, which is an absolutely wonderful thing for anyone who's not come across it. And as we were talking about doing an edible garden and a forest garden, as part of Hampton Court Garden Festival, we wanted, this garden to represent a new way of imagining what our urban green spaces could be for us all. Could they be sensational? Could they alight the senses? And could we go beyond just, strips of monoculture grass? Could we be more imaginative with the green spaces in our city? So Mike, obviously, gave a shout out to mushrooms quite early on in the Rangers co-design of this all. He said they had to be featured some way, and everyone obviously was very keen that they were. So he's worked for a long time with a community interest company called Fat Fox Mushrooms. They're based up in Tottenham, wonderful people. They grow their own mushrooms, and they actually sell kits that you can buy and grow your own in your kitchen at home. So we often think that mushrooms could be quite divorced from our day-to-day life. Maybe they need like a sterile laboratory conditions, or maybe they need to grow like in the deepest forest that's never been disturbed by humankind. Whereas actually there's mushrooms that grow on secondary material, like oyster mushrooms, for example, that you can just grow from their kits in your kitchen. I've done it myself with the pink oysters, and they were absolutely delicious. They even gave a second bloom.
Oh, wow.
And so, I would really encourage people to look into them. So, where possible, we've tried to source from, local London suppliers, non-profits, a bit of a focus in Hounslow, where we have our, first borough ranger program in place. Fat Fox are kind of an example of that. We really wanted to support them and honour their wonderful work.
Fantastic. And so obviously, it's quite hot and sunny here. So where are the mushrooms going to live in this garden?
This is not prime mushroom environment. So the wonderful team over to my left are actually pondering that very fact right now, Emily. What's great about the garden that everyone's designed is that there's these different layers and levels. So there's the mounds, the Hugelkultur mounds, with the dead decaying wood at the centre, and then the trees over the top providing glorious shade, as well as the fact that they're fruit trees. So what's beneficial is that shade and pockets are created within that, and it's kind of like a call to everyone to think about topography in their green spaces. Can there be stuff done with valleys, with mounds? Does everything have to just be flat?
Yeah.
And so the mushrooms will appreciate certainly the niches that everyone's trying to find for them now. Whilst it's peak summer, and this is obviously a representative garden rather than one that's completely naturalistic. I think it's more just a comment that there can be a place for mushrooms and that we needn't be so scared of them in our public spaces.
Absolutely, that is a wonderful sentiment. So will you be here at the festival itself next week?
Yes, I will. I'm coming on press day on the 30th. I'm going to wear a very, very garish black and white jumpsuit. So be prepared for that.
Incredible.
It's not so very often you can get dressed up, right? So I'm going all in.
Nice. And as people are kind of walking past, taking in Aster of the senses, what message do you personally want to land, and what do you want them to come? What do you want passers-by to come away with from everything that you've been working on with this garden for the last couple of years?
Well, again, I'm speaking on behalf of the Ranger team here. So the Royal Horticultural Society, the RHS, who run this festival, tread a delicate line between wanting to be more modern and inclusive and progressive, but also they have a lot of kind of like historical, traditional members. And so they've opened up this category called Gardens of Curiosity with a £10,000 funding sponsorship grant from the RHS to try and enable people from different backgrounds to participate here at this festival and make it less elitist. I think that's really commendable, and I think that the Ranger team here really exemplify that, and we're trying to support the RHS with that ethos, basically. The wider things that we're trying to say is about our urban green spaces. Could we all step up and try and make them more sensational? That's the tagline. It's obviously parks are run by the Royal Parks or by your local council, but there's all sorts of different ways where we can all step up and actually encourage these parks, these urban green spaces that might even not be parks, they might be little pockets of green land, to just be a bit more exciting, a bit more imaginative, a bit more sensational. And so if any of the 130,000 estimated visitors who will pass by this garden over the next week take that away and just feel a bit more belonging and a sense of ownership on the green space around them. It's so easy to just kind of a lot of people that come to this festival will have their own gardens, which isn't representative of most of London, and it's so easy to just focus on those and forget that our civic spaces are spaces for all of us, and we should all have a say and try and push for them to be as good as possible. So that's really what I'm hoping people take from this. And for people without gardens, many of whom are in our movement, it's about saying, instead of feeling that as a lack, or some scarcity there, how can our urban green spaces, of which London has a huge amount, serve us better and actually just fill that niche in our life through cooperative, sharing of these green spaces that we have around us.
Absolutely. And you touched on an interesting point there, because it's true. I think the RHS is seen as quite a, not dated, but quite a traditional organisation. But I guess it's wonderful to have these gardens to represent all the things that you were talking about. But I suppose the ticket prices for these events are not that accessible either, as far as I know. Right? It's like, I don't know, £40 for a ticket. Do you think there are other ways that we can encourage people to come to more of these events? I don't know, how do we tackle the affordability piece for shows like this? Maybe I don't know if that's something you want to answer.
I think, yeah, absolutely. And I think like the amount of waste that's created in these events and these shows, I think these shows have a huge reach. They can reach a lot of people that might have never heard of London National Park City and the work that Rangers are doing. And so it's hard to quantify that. And in huge events like this, we'll say, like, look, the impact that we have through this is so great. It outweighs any of the issues that might be in place around waste, or the fact that peat compost is still being they're still attempting to phase out the use of it. We're peat-free in our garden here.
Yeah.
So it's slow moving, I grant you that. I think we've seen the RHS trying to make these strides, and certainly the category that we're in this part of the festival, we're really proud to be. It's the first year they're running this Gardens of Curiosity, and we're really proud to be here. And so I think the RHS would be the first to say that it's not perfect, and that attempts to try and make this garden festival more inclusive will still need to be improved year on year.
Yeah.
We have a small amount of complimentary tickets that we've been given, which will be shared out amongst the Ranger cohort here for them to share with their families. And also all plants will be going to Ranger projects after this show. So we're really trying to ensure that there's a legacy, at least from what we can control and what we can manage.
Yeah.
Beyond that, like I say, we're happy to be part of the Gardens of Curiosity category, and the rest is a slow-moving beast.
Absolutely, yeah. We have to accept the imperfections sometimes, and it's always something to work on. But yeah, thank you so much for everything you've done to make this happen. It's lovely to have a chat, and yeah, good luck. Hope it all goes well next week. I will see you there as well. I'm here in one day, so
Brilliant.
We'll be going around maybe some of the other gardens and interviewing people. I don't know. We'll see.
That'll be fab.
Hopefully.
London has been given the first ever national park city status.
London, the world's first national park city.
Come and enjoy, because life's too short, really and truly.
And London, wow, what an amazing city.
So, greener,
Healthier.
And wilder.